sometimes as women, we are not good at supporting one
Each
another.
other. Yes. I love that point. It's good.
And so, the few conversations I've had with my schoolgirls, I realize the young ones. I realize that sometimes, and of course, high school is a very hectic time. Sometimes you just struggle with your worth and knowing that you're really loved and you are the prize. Ooh, not me.
Yes,
you're always the prize. No matter where you've been, what you've done, how badly you've messed up, your worth doesn't change. And so sometimes I think at a young age, you just don't see the worth. You don't see how beautiful you are, what you can contribute.
Welcome to Lungelo Podcast.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming.
Exactly.
I've been excited about this. There was a period I used to see a lot of your things, and then it stopped.
Yeah. There was a period where I was consistent enough, which is something we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
But then, due to many excuses I can make right now, and it wouldn't help anybody, even myself, even you. But then, But today you are here on the podcast.
I'm here.
Just to get a little bit info about you. Who is Nqobile Mdletshe?
Oh my word.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Who? Okay, that is an interesting question. You always think you know yourself.
Yeah.
And so someone is like, so who are you really? And then all of a sudden it's like...
Yes, I know that. Serious.
Who am I? I am... I think I am the most... just outrageous person I've ever met. In every sense of the word. I'm just an extreme on all parts. But in terms of profession, I'm a teacher.
Yes.
Love my job. I teach for a living. I've been doing it for quite a few years. And I love netball quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw you the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, this is interesting, man.
Yeah,
this is super interesting.
That has been this year anyway. I've been quite serious about that. And I really love kids. Most of the time.
The young ones.
The young ones, especially the ones that I
How
teach.
old maybe?
Well, at any age, I guess. It's just that, of course, the closest kids to me are my students. So I do, for the most part.
Yeah.
There are days where I'm like, this is not the day, and I am not the one. But for the most part, I love that. I love my job. I love life also.
Life as well. Life is beautiful. Man. Life is beautiful.
Yeah, I really do. And I think this past few months have been a bit hectic because I feel as though they've been quite defining. I've been asking myself a lot of questions, but like when you think I am this person, we always assume it's like a constant thing. Like you are this person and you stay that way, but you don't. I'm not who I was last year, and I'm not who I was the year before that. So at this point, I think I'm trying to be okay with the fact that I'm not just like a person who's in a mold, who stays in that form. I get to take different forms. I'm Christian. I love God.
Lord Jesus. I think it's so
I really do. I think whenever you say you're Christian, there's this assumption that you're also perfect. I'm not. I aspire to be a progressing Christian, not a perfect one, because perfection is very high and unattainable. And so every day is that question, like, am I who I am at my highest or at my best self?
Yes.
And some days the answer is no. Some days I have a lot to work on. Some days the answer is yes. So it's that ebb and flow. But I think my one passion in life, I don't believe that I have a Christian life and like a social life. Everything I am,
it's one thing.
It's one thing.
Yes.
It's all founded in my belief in God and
Yeah.
Christ Jesus and Him dying for me and everything that has resulted from that. So.
This is absolutely amazing, man. I think that's the best description I've had.
Thank you.
In a long time. And I kind of like, I'm gonna copy it if possible.
Yeah, no, please.
It's a best way to describe yourself, especially when you are a person of faith.
Yeah.
Somebody who believes in God. But then, just to not to fade away from the question, you've said something super amazing. You've said you're not the person you are last year now.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed?
Everything. Every year comes with this new set of challenges. you know.
Yes.
Every year comes with a new question of like, what are you trying to achieve? Where are you
Yes.
trying to go?
Yeah.
And so I think I felt like I was restless a lot this year when it began. I felt as though life is, there's so much you want to do and there's so little time and you know. And so I have been telling myself, and I think we are so concerned with being sure that I know that this is who I really am.
Yes,
But that's not always a possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, this is Superman. You're such an amazing person. I don't know
Thank
if I'm the
you.
only one who realized that, but
Thank you.
for sure even JP knows that. Because with you, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of said something, I think within this year, to one of your posts.
Yeah.
You said you do not have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You do not have to know everything about what you want to do or what you want to start. I think it was going there.
Yeah.
Like, is there something that maybe you once took a risk on and said,
Yeah.
though I have no knowledge, but then I'm gonna try it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Blogging.
blogging.
Blogging. Okay. Well, when a while back, I got back into therapy, and we were talking at the time about how do you cope with life, like when you feel overwhelmed,
Yes.
or you feel like you're not coping, or just too much is going on. How do you like structure your mind in such a way that you cope?
Yeah.
And so I got into blogging from a space of needing an outlet of all the deep emotions I was feeling.
And you said that. Yes, exactly. Yes.
And so I when I got into that space, I needed to put my thoughts into something and make it like a tangible thing that I could share and read again when I'm feeling better. I didn't continue with it. I stopped because I think I was better, and a part of me was like, if I blog again, it's going to be from a different space. But I tried it with the risk because it was me like just putting my heart into the world
out there,
and my stories and all the things that have shaped me, good or bad.
Exactly.
Especially things like, you know, my relationship with my dad, how it was strained from so many things.
Yeah.
My relationship with my mom, how it was strained. And so that the risk of it was also beautiful because I felt really like, you know, when you're drowning, okay, people are like, okay, what is that even? But, you know, if you've got the feeling of just feeling like you're drowning.
You're drowning,
And that for me was like I was just coming up for air. And I was breathing fully for the first time.
That was your way of speaking out.
Yeah.
And your way of healing. Because you've gotta, I think we avoid the equation of mental health issues because we're kind of struggling. Like most of us as youth, as young individuals, we're struggling a lot, but we don't get to talk about those things. So you finding your way out of that situation, I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
But then you just touched something about your relationship with your dad, you growing up and everything like that. I want to know about that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to know your younger self.
My younger self.
Your younger self. Let's just take a 10-year to 20-year-old Nqobile and just view that live and see who is that person.
It's interesting you asked me that question. A few weeks ago, someone called me and said to me, hey, tell your life story quickly.
What?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. And so the past 10 years of my life, I've been telling how I grew up, how my parents passed away, how, you know, the whole story, you know?
Yeah, the whole story.
And I turned 30 now in July. And
yes, congrats. I think it's I was gonna talk about it. I was gonna talk about it,
which is so crazy because I feel so old. I don't know why. No, but for real. Because for me it's like 30. No, but you know it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think everyone has the world has a mental time frame they want you to follow.
Yeah.
That at a certain age you need to have done certain things. And so the thing about that is we make it seem as though there's a template to life and everyone needs to follow that template. But it's life doesn't work like that. You don't get to follow the same path everyone follows.
Exactly.
And so I think the craziest thing about but back to your question before I go too far on that one. So when I turned 30, I told myself I need to really deal with how I want to tell my story from now on, because I do want to share my story to glorify God, because I think I've been through a lot, and God has been so faithful, and I can't believe the life that I live, because it's just miracle to miracle to miracle, right? But at the same time, I feel like more than where I have been,
It's cool.
Sorry,
Don't worry.
I am at a better place, and so I'm trying, which is another thing, when you're asking me, who am I now? For the longest time, I thought to myself, I am this orphan who got to be helped by a few families, who got to get a job, who got to get bursaries, things like that. And so for the longest time, that was me.
That was your best definition.
That was my
yourself.
best definition, and the only definition that I used overly. Like I didn't get to really have another version, because I was always just fixed on this one, that I am this person, And so at 30 now, I sit and I'm like, I'm more than my very sad life story, and the journey it took to get to this person. And I felt as though telling my story for years, which is quite traumatic, I have a blog post about it. I blogged about it also, because I was like, you know what, I'm so tired of saying the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, I know it's so uplifting and people want to hear it. But there's a new story,
which is more beautiful and really
beautiful,
attracting than the old story,
right? And it wouldn't be there without the old one. But in a nutshell, because I think it's gonna be crazy to kind of put it's like I'm patching places. In a nutshell, the story is really just growing up in poverty for the most part, losing my parents, becoming a student teacher, and just getting a crazy bursary, which got me in London and really helped me experience the best people in the world.
This is super crazy. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. And that's why I'm saying you kept some of the things from the social life. Because I kind of feel like it's very important to protect yourself at some point. You can share, but don't overshare. You see, because there are always people there coming to get you, or coming to disrespect you, finding ways to put you down. But then, just not to fade away from this conversation. You get a bursary, some sort of a scholarship to London.
Wow. Through this scholarship, I was able to go for about 2 weeks to London. So I didn't study there. I wish. Oh my word. It was such a beautiful experience, because a part of me was like, this is like a lifetime thing, There are not a lot of people who get to go overseas in their lifetime. So for me to have gone at the age that I did, and through the people that I did. So my bursary foundation, which is Make a Difference Bursary Foundation, I always try to tell people to apply, because it really is the coolest space. They fund from about grade 7 to tertiary.
Are you serious? JP, didn't you know about the bursary?
I always share.
No, I just feel like...
I always share, but I think people don't believe...
When you tell them things, they're like, no,
I don't think they believe that. Okay, I could get this.
Because that's my problem, Q. It really is my problem. There is information out there that is not being shared enough. There are people like me, like you, who are in needy, who can really use some sort of a hand. But then, because of this information, it's and nowadays, when I can go home right now, because I'm a Kaya, so. When I can go home and tell them, okay, there is something on the internet, just go straight and search for it. They're like, no, it's scam, whatsoever. No, put your document, the ID, scam. Which brings me to your point that you share some of the things, they kind of like, I can't make it.
And I think, I share it because I know what I've experienced. And really, it was the best phase of my life, going through that. and just being part of my bursary. So I love that very much. And I think also I wish there were more bursary foundations.
To come
Because
and help out.
because a lot of children have so much potential, they just need that helping hand.
Yes, exactly.
But of course, that comes with a lot of responsibility as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
You've gotta have good grades. You've gotta make sure that
Yeah.
you really are serious at school. And yeah, you're right about that. You kind of mentioned a lot of things
Yeah.
in pieces, without going in details.
Yeah.
Without going in details. And from one of your live stream, where you mentioned that you were gonna start a blog, you start blogging, which I think you didn't live up to your words.
Yeah.
You-
I
you-
did though.
Yeah, yeah, you did. But
I
then
just
you
didn't-
promised us live streams.
I did.
That I mean that because there's only one video there.
The pressure is getting worse. Yes.
There's only one video there. You kind of speak about traumatic experience, or there is some part of you like when you were young that you went through. Are you okay speaking about it right now?
Depends on which one. There were so many. Because another thing, a traumatic experience doesn't have to be something that is big,
Yeah.
It can be traumatic for you and your mother to not have a good relationship.
Exactly.
I think whenever we think of trauma, we think of something really like
Oh, she went through.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. We're
Yeah.
making these pictures in our
Yeah.
mind about it.
But trauma it can't just be big things. But I'm not sure what I was talking about at the time. So I don't remember. But I remember there was a time I wanted to be serious about social media. And I was there, I was doing the content. But you know what the hardest thing for me about social media was, or is even still, because I'm not
Okay.
on there as often.
Okay.
It's feeling like you are in constant competition. And that you're failing at it.
Oh, that's huge. That's very important. Yeah, that's a very important point.
Which
It's
I
huge.
realized
It's huge.
is no one is on social media saying compete with me. Look at how great I
Nobody.
am.
Yes, nobody.
You kind of take that on yourself. Where I remember there was a time I was posting content, and it just wouldn't get as many views as what I'd anticipate.
Then you judge yourself.
Then you look at another person who's posted something worse, and they are thriving, and you're like, what scam?
What did they use? What
Right,
hashtag? Then you go, you
right.
check it out. What
And
hashtag?
you duplicate it, and you
Yes,
just don't get. But I must say, what I think I should have done is just stay longer and really see it through.
Yeah, because the algorithm, I think it picks up consistency.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because I asked about the trauma thing, right?
Yeah.
I want the most defining moments, which has shaped some of your values that now you kind of like,
This is who I am.
this is who I am, this is what I've become.
Yes.
Because we've got that. Everyone has that.
Yeah.
You've got that one
Yeah.
defining moment you think, without it,
Yeah.
you couldn't have become the
Who
person
I
that you are today.
am.
And you're allowed to think on this podcast. Just be free to think about it. Like
Okay, wow. That's beautiful. Defining moment. Ooh. I think my first defining moment was being a caregiver to my sister. Okay, obviously losing
parents.
was defining in the sense that I think I was highly irresponsible.
How old were you guys?
9 when my mom passed and 16 when my dad passed. And so I was young both times.
Yeah, you young.
And so and I think that's why 30 is so hard for me. Losing my parents by the age of 16, but my dad had remarried, so my stepmother was still alive at the time.
Yeah.
For her to pass away when I was about 18, 19, that's how I took my sister. My 20s was spent raising a child.
Taking the responsibility.
Yeah. I felt as though I'm this kind of person who's terrified of risky behavior because I always feel like I have I have so much responsibility that comes with my life
Yeah.
that from the age of 18 to the age of 30, all I've done is be a caregiver, main provider, supports in all that sense. And so what I mourn, and why I think it was a defining moment, is that I felt as though I didn't have a childhood. You
didn't experience, the growing up stage when you're young, kind of adolescence.
Would have wanted to get arrested.
They are crazy things, but no, come on.
Would have wanted to
just be wild, be everywhere, give your parents
overdose on
a
drugs. Okay, maybe I'm taking it too far.
But it's super cool. It's true. It's true. That's what most young people go through. They kind of do a lot of things.
They do, and now I think for me it was like, you can't do too much because who's going to look after the child?
Jump up the window,
just they taking risky behavior. I might break my neck, but
I love it.
So that was a very defining moment for me. Just having to mature very quickly, and always being the one who has to be strong enough to carry everything that life comes with. And so that's why I'm so desperate. I can't escape my past. I can't escape my story.
Never, you can't change it as well. You can't change it.
But at the same time, I want to move to a space where I embrace it without feeling the loss of childhood. A lot of people. And I think the difference is, of course, if you feel pregnant and you're young, you take the responsibility, of course. But I think for me, it was more of it wasn't fully by choice. There was a bit of choice there, but it just wouldn't have ended well had I not decided to do what I did.
Yeah.
And so that was a very big defining moment for me, kind of looking after this person without a guarantee of how it'll turn out. I think the biggest scam of parenting or caregiving is that this person can be anything, right? Wow. And you need to be at peace that you've done what you could. And you've given them what they've needed. But that was big for me. I think also another defining moment was when I realized that I'm not suffering anymore. If you grow up in a very tough space, you always want to make yourself a victim somehow. Like it was,
exactly. I'm poor,
Yes,
I don't have parents. I was raised by a single mom, single father. These are the kind of excuses that we all have. What most important is the decision that you take after, which is what I'm more interested in. Because I'm not interested in your past. Your past has
that
gone.
makes
It's
me
good.
very happy.
Everything has happened. But now, who is Nqobile right now? It's much more important. We're becoming for tomorrow, for the future. It's what's more important. So I really love your story, man.
Thank you.
So just take us a little bit about what you normally do right now, because now you have figured yourself out.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. On the journey of figuring myself out. Like I said,
you're on the journey. You're not yet done.
I'm taking it.
You're a progressive
as it
individual.
comes.
You said that, right? I love the word progressive.
Yeah.
You are not perfect. You are not perfect.
No.
You make mistakes like everyone does, like I do. But then, right now, as in this moment, what do you do each and every day to keep yourself like having that spark of creating content, of getting out there and just be an educator and just, the person that you really are right now? What motivates or inspires you?
That's a good question. First of all, I don't think I create as much content as what I should be.
You've been lazy these days. I should tell you that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I stopped though. Because I started asking myself, who do I do this for? I enjoy dressing up. I enjoy buying clothes.
Wow.
I enjoy that. But sometimes
this is very important.
You need to ask yourself, why do I do this?
Yes.
Like I said, my love and hate relationship with social media. And that there's always something new, something better, there's always something. And I mean, I have a few good friends who kill the content game, Frank being one of them. Like I honestly feel as though he just, and it's not, I've come to understand with him that it's not a natural procession of things. It is
about hard work.
It's about hard work. He puts a lot into his
showing
content.
Up and
a lot into his business. A lot. Like there's no other way to go about it which won't require a lot from you. And so a problem I do have though is, which I really need to work on, like if I think of my weaknesses, I am lazy. I just
Like,
can wake up one day and be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Which is so bad.
But-
I really need to change that.
you
and
need to
so
try. Like,
I
try
really need to
change
try.
it.
Yeah,
really.
excuse me. I never see things through sometimes. I always give up at the defining stages, which I really shouldn't. But so content, oof. But only because I also feel like social media makes you feel like you're on this downward spiral of just dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Everything, like I said, but again, it's not a social media thing; it's a me thing.
It's a new thing. You've got to figure yourself out and what do you
100%.
want, why do that.
Yeah.
Like you said, you raised something very important. You said you stopped and say, what, like, who am I doing this for? That is a big question. Even for me, I did ask myself that. You know, when I started this podcast, and
What was the
I
answer?
stopped, and then I was like, because there's one thing you've got to figure out
Yeah.
before you just continue or proceed with anything that you're doing, is that you can start something with a desire, or okay, this is my goal, this is my vision, God is putting me in this space. Then along the way, you just see the trends. You see people commenting,
And
liking your content and everything like that. You get to be dismayed, or just to be pushed away from the real
Yeah.
goal, where okay, this is what should happen.
Yeah.
Then that's where you need to reaccess yourself and just stop and say, okay, who am I doing this for? Is it still the same person, me, which is me? That's why it's very important. With even tomorrow, if I come and judge you on social media and say some of the things, you won't be affected because you know what you're doing. That's for you. But that's for you,
Yeah.
like for you, Q. Yeah. Before I forget, because you kind of have like a lot of things.
I do.
Like in
And I
places.
can go so many different directions.
So many different directions at a small moment or small time.
Yeah.
But I like your life. Like I like your life. What is it that is important for you right now? Is it have to have good friends? Like you mentioned Frank.
Yeah.
Because I kind of see the power of collaboration between
Yeah,
the two
yeah,
of you.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful and amazing.
Yeah,
like,
he needs to
the
bring me
growth.
back.
Yeah. So
And collab again, yeah.
yeah, what is it that is so important for you now? Like really, in a space of creating content. Let me just say that.
I think going back, but not just going back and doing something that's going to drive me even on the days when I feel like it's ineffective. You know,
When you don't feel like doing it.
yeah, fashion is amazing. It's constantly changing. It's
And
also
it suits you.
expensive. Thank
And it
you.
suits you.
Oh. It's also expensive to do content, especially if you haven't gotten to a level where you are getting so many sponsored things. It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah, yeah, partnership.
it's quite expensive to keep it up. Buy clothes, get spaces. There's a way around it. So I think I eventually was just spending a lot and I wasn't seeing the results. So that was one of the things. But I really think that if I go back, hopefully soon,
Yeah.
I need to go back and really have a deeper driving force than just to show up on social media. I need to balance it somehow with something more meaningful, you know, and not just make it dressing up, making videos and reels.
Yeah.
I mean, I love comedy too, so that's one of the things that
You love comedy.
I do. If you watch some of my reels, they're like all
Yeah.
these comedy things because I think of the craziest things. And then I go on there and I do too much. And so even that, you know, I think going back would be a bit of fashion, a bit of comedy, and definitely a bit of like a more spiritual side of things. I love women and like not
Like
empowering
empowering them
women
or-
so much because I feel that's a huge task, but just maybe spurring them on, you know, just like
Giving support or
you know, sometimes as women we are not good at supporting one
each
another.
other. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that point. It's good.
And so the few conversations I've had with my schoolgirls, I realized the young ones, I realized that sometimes, and of course high school is a very hectic time, sometimes you just struggle with your worth and knowing that you're really loved and you are the prize. Ooh, not me moving the mic. You're always the prize. No matter where you've been, what you've done, how badly you've messed up, your worth doesn't change. And so sometimes I think at a young age, you just don't see the worth. You don't see how beautiful you are, what you can contribute. And so I think having had my moments of struggle when it comes to
Yes.
self-esteem
Wow.
and really feeling beautiful and really feeling amazing. I really would love to be in a space where I encourage women. And more than anything, the one thing I've always just was passionate about is doing some form of like a Bible study type thing or word study type thing. During COVID, I realized that everyone was just so isolated.
Yeah.
And everyone was just going through the most
Difficult time, man.
very difficult
very.
time. And so I realized that we are not, there's nothing feeding us. There's nothing.
Yeah, we are empty.
Yeah.
We are empty.
Yeah.
We have filled those spaces with the weight, busy,
Yes.
like attending to our jobs, coming back, doing nothing at all. But then when you get to be isolated from everything, you try to say within, like, no, I'm empty. Like, what am I feeling?
Yeah.
So what is the one book that you think has changed your life?
The one book.
Yeah, the one book you can recommend.
Oh, my word. Let me think. Wow. What is the one book that I think is amazing? Wow. There's a few. So I hope I can mention.
Give me four. Yes, give me four.
I can
Give us
mention
four.
some of them. The
Give us
first
four.
book, which I think was one of the books which I find most memorable, is
Yes.
Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, which talks about the unconditional love of God. It's on the book Hosea in the Bible and how we are constantly escaping and running away, and God is always searching and seeking us out and loving us.
You never change.
Yeah, like there've been so many parts in my life I was like, Lord, I do not deserve. Like, I will do the utmost and I'll just be like, I can't. But God has made me there. So I really have loved that book by Francine Rivers.
And you do recommend us to read it, right?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it is a.
Thank you.
What do you call it? It's fiction. I know a lot of people don't like fiction.
Can you define it as like spiritual awakening book?
Yeah,
Or bringing you closer to God, or to an understanding of love,
and
love
yes,
of God.
because the love of God and the relentless pursuit.
Lord, I love that. Can you repeat it again? Like, I love it. I love it. I love that.
Relentless pursuit. God is always.
He never stops searching. He never stops
No.
searching. Wow. This
So
is
that
beautiful, cute.
one book. I want to say the Bible. I wanted to have started with that one.
That's the biggest of all. That's the
But
biggest.
now
Then
it's like, you know, my goal every year is to read through the whole Bible. I have been slacking so bad this year. This year, I got myself so caught up with so many things. I've been trying to get back into that. But I read through the whole Bible. I think every single person should, at least, Christian, not Christian, I encourage everyone to just read through the whole book.
Because every book that is written, most of the things they are derived from there.
Yeah.
Every writer will tell you
for
straight
the
that
most part,
I've been reading the Bible and I wrote 27,
Yeah.
become the bestseller.
Yeah.
But the biggest book of all, then the most important one, even myself, I can attest to that, is the Bible.
Yeah.
It is the Bible.
I love the Bible. I love my particular Bible, the Bible that I have right now. But yeah, that, and I read a book with Zile actually, titled "It Ends with Us." Wow, she read
both
it.
of you?
Yeah, I read it first, and then I recommended it to her, and it's so well written. I couldn't put that book down. It just talks about
What the title?
"It Ends with Us."
It ends with us.
Yeah, by Colleen Hoover. It was so gripping because it talks about a very physically abusive relationship and the cycle.
Like,
And
why
how
do I
hard
feel
it
like every woman, like, when it comes to relationship,
Yeah.
they go to that part whereby the relationship is abusive or something.
Yeah, but-
they want to find something better about it.
No,
I don't.
no, but,
But
you
then
know
it's
what?
super cool. It's super cool because it's the level of awareness,
We've glamorized toxic love.
How so?
When you watch movies and series and all these, like, toxic love is always what people are looking for. But it's so loving or being loved from a toxic space is a sign of lack of healing. and so as women, we need to heal to attract healthy love or be drawn to healthy love. There was a time in my life a while back, I prayed and I said to God, heal the parts of me that are drawn to men that are not good for me.
Wow.
Because I think sometimes you're like, oh, my word, I mean, we think the stress is all part, it's not. There's no, if a person is not aspiring to be better, and if another thing we do is we're always looking for guys to be a certain way.
But
when
you are not fixing yourself.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I needed to heal the parts of me that were
Yeah.
toxic, the parts of me that were harmful,
Yeah.
that wanted me to always be with someone who was just gonna be, getting riled up, and then And so as soon as I started being intentional about that, there's a few dips here and there, but for the most part, I think I do want a healthy love because I feel like I'm on that journey. And again, I realize you don't get a person who's already perfect and everything.
You've got to be ready to build and just to go through those struggles.
Yeah, ready to say, I want to be better too. For me, as like I want to be better for me, that person wants to be better for themselves, and then we come together
and
you
share
can
that
apologize,
yes.
You can communicate, you can. So that book was beautiful because it just shows that when love is broken and you grow up in a space where you get exposed to that kind of love, you get to choose. That's why, hence the title of the book. But I don't want to give it away because I want people to read it. And so I really, I read that book this year. It was really beautiful. You said 4, so that's 3.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
3.
I've got one.
I've got one.
left.
Last one.
Let me see which other book. Another book which I read, which was quite life-changing. There's this couple I love from Kenya, Ernest and Waturi Wamboye. They've got a blog.
They're on Instagram, right?
They are on Instagram or on Facebook. I think they're on Instagram too. But they've got books. They really talk about sexual purity. They talk about marriage. They talk about singleness. They talk about so many things. And I got to know them a few years ago. And they have just contributed so much. I have never met them. Next year's dream is to finally meet them.
What?
Yeah. So, but they have a book that they wrote, which is Basics. And it basically talks about the foundations to marry well. So they've been married, I think, 10 years. They're a young couple.
So you can say they are your inspirations in terms of relationship.
They really are.
Wow, really? That's cool,
really,
man.
I love them so much. I've never met them. Also because their approach was, we are changing the narrative. We are going to do our own thing. People go into relationships or marriage and all of that, kind of like, I want to duplicate what Ulungelo has done. Mfunufana, no Ernest, no Tur,
yes, exactly.
But you can't do that. Everyone comes from a new set of experiences, family. So their last book, that Basics book, because it asked the question, which I was saying just now, which is basically that there's first and foremost, the foundation of any relationship, friendship, family, work relationship, is relationship with Christ.
So you were basically telling us about your life.
Yes.
If you were to become a book now, what would be the title?
I think the title would be On an Imperfect Journey to Self-Discovery.
Yes.
And the Constant Pursuit of Christ.
Wow.
With like a little bit of ratchet, like just a little bit of escape.
Wow.
Righteous and ratchet.
All right. Wow. I think it's the best title there is.
Yeah. It's all over the place with chaos. I feel like
it's
that
chaos,
can be my
it's
life
long,
sometimes.
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's super amazing. So Q, before I let you go, we're gonna do these fast burning questions that I want to do.
Okay.
But they're very simple,
Okay.
They're all about you now.
Okay.
They're all about you now.
Yeah.
So the first question would be, like you've created a blog, right?
Yeah.
You're blogging now. On your blog, there's something that you wrote. You said, life is an art. What did you mean about that?
Artwork or art pieces are the central focus in a space. And they are, depending on where whatever you feel is art is art. You are, so when I say life is art, I mean life is, you know, if you see an artwork and you think it's beautiful to you. So your perspective, or like how you see things, is how they are. But for the most part, art is beautiful.
And
you know?
it has a lot of different pieces. When they come together, they make something beautiful, which is life. Life is full of disappointments, sometimes good times, sometimes.
So all of those components combined is art. And also art is something that is good. You know, it's an outlet. It is a positive space. Life is art in that sense too. And I think there was a quote. I don't know if I can search for it quickly.
Yeah, you can search for it. Because when I saw those words, for me, it was like, wow, you know, art can portray sadness. It can show beautiful times. It can show someone like trying to figure things out. You know, it's full of different kind of puzzles. Then they combine. They kind of create something beautiful.
No, definitely. And so the reason so this is the quote that actually was the driving force. This quote says, it's by Helena Bonham Carter. I think everything in life is art. What you do, how you dress, the way you love someone, how you talk, your smile, your personality, what you believe in, and all your dreams. The way you drink your tea, how you decorate your home, your grocery list, your party, the food you make, how you write, and the way you feel. So it's got so many shapes and forms.
Wow, that is beautiful.
And so I thought, you know, you can't box any part of life. It's constantly moving. It's fluid.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Thank you. So number 2.
Thank you. Yes.
You have defined yourself as a writer, right? And you are a writer, right?
Yeah.
You need no approval from me or from anybody else, you know,
Yeah.
because you kind of know who you are. Oh, what are some of the words that you wish you can write now and people read them every day?
Is it a phrase?
Yeah, you can make it a phrase or you can make it a sentence. It's cool. Something that you can just write now and put it on the wall. Every day when you go inside your room, you kind of read it every day. You know, it kind of uplift or just keep you on, you know, on hype, like on that level, or you are motivated, inspired, you know, positive.
I think it would be 2 things, if I may. Because you say one book, I say, then I want more. So even this time, the one would be, life has a way of always getting better. You know, no situation is permanent. It doesn't matter how bad things are sometimes.
Wow!
They will get better.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes when you're having a really bad day or things are just really not okay, then you sit there and you think, oh my word, no, it's not permanent. And another, which is my favorite psalm. I've memorized the whole psalm. I love it so much. Psalms 103, there's a part of it that says, the Lord is righteous and merciful, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love. God doesn't love the way we do. His love doesn't have conditions and terms and withholds wrong, but there's a part that says, as far as the heavens are from the earth, so great is his love for us. And as far as east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. So sometimes you sit in guilt about a lot of things that you can't change. And the reminder that God isn't sitting thinking constantly about how you've messed up can just keep you steady when you feel like everything in life is shaking. So.
Wow, cute. This is beautiful. I wish I can get inside your brain.
I need to make it, actually.
You have to. You have to. So, right now, I'm going to go straight to, as an educator, you are an educator by day, a teacher, you know.
Yes.
So, as an educator, what is the one subject, if you're given a chance to add, for learners to study at school, at that level of high school, what would that be?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
We are not training our learners to sustain themselves. I teach business studies and I love business studies, but it's more theoretical. It's more like the words of the subject. I wish we had a practical subject where learners learn how to provide for their own needs, how to come up with creative ideas. The reality is not all of them are going to be hired. Not all of them are strong enough academically to get a job that will sustain them, and they can't all depend on getting a job. So when I look at some of my learners and I see that they don't stand a chance in the working world for the most part, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because it doesn't suit everyone. And we can't assume, or we can't encourage them all to go into that space. I think definitely entrepreneurship. And so self-sustenance, being able to sell a product, generate money, do something else. Yeah.
Wow, I think it is the best one you have chosen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So one last question.
Okay.
One last question. So as a content creator, what is the one thing you think makes you stand out?
When I am actually creating content.
Yes.
I think the humor. I am the funniest person I know. I can keep myself entertained.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Maybe no one else. I love laughing. I am always laughing. One of the things I used to hate about myself is how when I laugh, I've got like all these lines.
Now you see, now I'm checking out. Now I'm checking them out. You know, like I'm like,
I laugh with my whole face. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this so much. And now it is a reminder that with every reason life has given me to just cry and be completely depressed, I've always found a reason to celebrate.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. And so I love making people laugh. I love just lightening moments that would be otherwise sad.
Yeah.
And I like to think I'm hilarious. So, to me.
Everyone does. Like, I am.
So, yeah.
Like, everyone is like that. I am hilarious.
Yeah.
You know?
So, definitely that
I'm a
would
superhuman. Like, super.
If I talk of content creation, definitely direction that I love going into is humor. Fashion too. I love dressing up too. Because why not? You know,
why not? We've been given the space of creating and just putting ourselves out there without having had to pay, you know, except the data that you use. But then, because we're done now, thank you so much. You know,
it's a pleasure. Thank you for this.
Those were such beautiful answers you gave us right now.
Thank you for inviting me, and that you've started again. You are inspiring me to go back.
Wow, serious?
Yeah.
No, thank you so much.
Because I think there was a time both of us tried to be relatively consistent.
Yeah.
I remember. And then we took a break. So now you're telling me that you're getting back into it. I need to get back. I need to get back into it too. So I love what you do. Conversation is so necessary.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Like, it's very important.
So well done to you on this. And I really hope this is the beginning of a phase that is an ending of consistency.
It's unending, because even you're still going to come back here.
Yeah.
I think within the range of this year, you're still going to make it here. So, okay. So now we're closing. Now, thank you so much. You know, I love that you are here. Thank you for allowing it to happen, you know.
Okay.
But then, what is the one question right now, since you're leaving, that you expected me to ask, but I didn't ask you? What would be the answer?
What was I expecting?
Yes.
I don't think I had any expectations. Having seen your content, I knew I'm impressed with the questions, because I honestly could not have prepared for what I got. But at the same time, I think I expected possibly more on whether, like, what's the next after blogging? Would I want to write a book? I thought you'd ask me that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because I know people are always like, blogging is like the introduction.
Exactly.
Then
it's a preparation.
You evolve from that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the answer is yes. The dream is definitely to write one day. I think, though, the difference is I won't necessarily write just about my life or the story behind my life, but more maybe the lessons that I've accumulated in my wise years.
That's the best choice.
Yeah.
That is the best
Oh,
choice.
my life story, and then eventually something else. But I think that was what I had expected. But I'm just so happy that the questions were really just like a healthy, vibrant. I feel great now.
Wow, I'm honored.
I wasn't
honored
expecting anything, so I'm just blown away. So thank you to you for the invite.
Wow, I'm honored. But yeah, thank you for coming to this podcast. Until we do this again.
Yes,
until
I'm
we
coming
do this
back,
again.
right?
You are definitely, most
I-
definitely. So
Yay!
so right now
Oh,
you've gotta give us. You've gotta give us. What do you find you like?
I am on Instagram.
Yes.
I am Nqobile Mdletshe.
Yeah.
It's actually Nqobile.n.Mdletshe.
Mdletshe.
And on Facebook, Nqobile Mdletshe. I'm not on the
What about
much.
TikTok? What about TikTok?
On TikTok, I think I'm Nqobile.n.Mdletshe there as well.
Yes.
So yeah, those are my socials. I'm hoping to get back into the socials again
Yeah, you must.
very soon.
I think starting from now, we've
Yeah.
got to create a story or something.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to create a story or something. All right, no, thank you for coming to this podcast.
Thank you so
So
much.
family, thank you for having us. Like really, this was an honor for me. We've been talking about this for quite some time with Q,
We have.
but finally, she's here today. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you are the part of this family, please do make sure that you comment, you share the content. And if you are new, maybe coming from Q, because people are going to be like, Q is there. Just make sure you subscribe and you become part of the family, because this is the beginning of something great, something beautiful. I love it. So yeah, until we meet again, this is your host, none other than Lungelo Mota. I'm with JP. JP is behind the camera there, my boy, and Q. There's three of us today. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yay!